Happy Friday, everyone. It's the Book Cougars, two middle-aged women on the hunt for a good read. I'm Emily.
And I'm Chris.
We have our Friday reads in hand.
We do. Mine is a shiny library book, Mylar cover. You want to go first?
Sure. Mine is not shiny. We just got this in the mail this week from Milkweed Editions, and we are so thankful. This book comes out on August 15th, so just around the corner. I am going to implore you all to pre-order it or let your libraries know to get it. This book is called The Quickening, Creation and Community at the Ends of the Earth by Elizabeth Rush. She was a finalist for the Pulitzer for her book Rising. What was the full name of that? Rising, Dispatches from the New American Shore. That book came out in 2018, and it was the Rhode Island Reads book.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I first heard about it. And that one was about literally the rising sea level, and she went out and interviewed people who were affected by that. And it, as I said, it was a finalist for the Pulitzer, but it was quite sad, you know, for obvious reasons. It was about people who had lost loved ones due to rising sea levels. This one, on the other hand, is so far, I mean, I'm barely into it, but it's slightly hopeful. What it's about, I mean, the quickening in general is about, you know, or not in general, the definition of quickening can be things moving more quickly, faster. But it's also the feeling that a woman gets the first time her baby moves when she's pregnant, the first time you can start feeling the baby. So when I got this book, I was like, oh, that's such an interesting title. And it is about her getting the opportunity to go on a ship to explore the Thwaites Glacier, which is in Antarctica. And climatologists suggest that what happens with that glacier is very much going to represent what happens with rising sea levels in our future. And it's a mystery in a lot of ways because of where it's located. So it's very rare that people get to go. And she goes on this adventure with a crew of people. So that's as much as I know so far. Again, it's called The Quickening. It's out August 15th. The other thing I wanted to say about this author, Elizabeth Rush, is that her book Rising won the National Outdoor Book Award, which I just talked about on episode 186. That's a really great resource for finding books that are about outdoors, about adventure, and things like that. So we'll put a link to that award down below.
Cool. And I was just scoping out some of the people who blurbed it on the back. Some big names.
Yes. I mean, Roxane Gay says, this book is at once a love letter and a meditation and a gentle warning, and we very much need all three. And I mean, it's so interesting that Roxane Gay would be blurbing this. The other person who blurbed it is Robin Wall Kimmerer. Remember our read along of Braiding Sweetgrass? And she says, The Quickening took me on an immersive journey through both exterior and interior landscapes, deftly crossing the boundaries between the frigid Antarctic and the warm heart. Elizabeth Rush's writing is multi-layered, from fascinating scientific accounts to intimate human stories. And I don't think I mentioned the human story aspect of this is she does decide to get pregnant the same year she's going on this adventure. And I think a lot of people who are looking at raising children or bringing children into the world during the time of climate change have to ask themselves different questions than I probably asked myself when I got pregnant 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So she wraps that all up in here. So it's kind of memoir-esque as well because of that.
All right. Well, my book, I have not started reading it. I didn't even know this book was out. Cherie Dimaline's new book that just came out. It's a novel, Venko. Coven? Get it? Venko. So it's actually a company. And this book deals with witches. Let me just read a tiny bit. So it's Métis culture. She's the main character is a millennial person, Lucy St. James. So she lives with her grandmother in a tiny Toronto apartment. She's been waiting for something to happen. You know, whenever a book starts with that, something's gonna happen. So one night she burrows into an old passageway and finds a tarnished silver spoon humming with otherworldly energy. and then etched with a long-nosed witch and the word Salem is etched on the spoon. So this is our Scarlet Summer witch stuff. We'll be going to Salem at some point in August. And then so this company, Venko, is a front company fueled by dark money. Venko's witches hide in plain sight where women gather. Tupperware parties, mommy and me classes, suburban book clubs.
Preying on
Keep your eye
others.
out. Yeah, so since colonial times, they have anticipated the moment the 7 spoons, which have been scattered by the martyrs of Salem, will come together to ignite a new era, returning women to their rightful power. So,
bring it.
Yeah, so Cherie Dimaline is a Canadian Métis author, and I've read a couple of her previous books and really enjoyed them. Empire of Wild, and what was the other one?
I can picture the cover. It was the Marrow.
The Marrow Thieves. Yeah. So super excited about this. And thank you. I don't remember who mentioned this on Instagram. Emily and I just went through and we couldn't find the person who mentioned it. But thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. And I can't wait to dig into it. When we finish recording, I'm going to eat dinner. And then this is my night.
Right on.
Yeah.
We have some other show and tell.
We do.
Don't we?
Yeah. And Petry.
Yeah, we just both read The Street by Ann Petry. This was a reread for Chris the first time I read it, which is a novel, an adult novel that she wrote. This is a YA novel that she wrote about Tituba of Salem Village. And we have talked about her in relation to Scarlet Summer. And we don't have this book on the Scarlet Summer bingo card, but it would be an excellent substitution.
Right. For one of the repeats that are on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is definitely one I think we're both going to read, I think. We're just reading the first page or two. Petry has a way of really just drawing you into a story and setting a scene and being there with the characters.
And it was a little steamy, the first page. We were surprised that it was a YA novel, so...
Yeah, rippling back muscles.
We're going to leave that as a mystery for you to pick up. But this came out of our local library, Old Saybrook, which is where Ann Petry lived. But give your library a look-see also to see if they have some of her work.
Yeah, and that was in the local author section. And then they actually have a whole Petry collection. It's a shelf that's kind of standalone, and it has a photograph of her and then also of her aunt, who ran the James Pharmacy and was a huge influence on Ann Petry's life. One of the things I read was that one of the reasons that Ann Petry moved back from Harlem to Old Saybrook, where she was born and raised, was to be with her aunt, who was such a important figure in her life. So... they have all of her books there. This is one of her kids' books that she wrote about a cat. And it's based on a cat she knew, I believe.
And she knew a little bit about drugstores.
Yes. Yeah, because she herself was a pharmacist.
And it was definitely the family business.
Yeah. And this is dedicated to Anna Houston. It's written like Houston, but Houston is how it's pronounced. So she dedicated to Anna Houston Bush and Anna Louise James. And Anna Louise James, that's her aunt who had the pharmacy.
And then this one is another children's book, Legends of the Saints. And this is illustrated by Anne Rockwell. And I don't know anything about this one. Did you read through it
This
yet?
is one that I think she wrote for possibly one of her nieces. But show people the book plate that's in there.
Oh, right. So the Acton Public Library is the Old Saybrook Library. And look, it says Gift of Ann Petry, 1970, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is super cool.
Yeah.
So we are looking forward to reading more Petry, her kids' books, her YA. Next up for the Vintage Book Club is going to be her novel, Country Place. And that's a book club that meets quarterly. So October is our next meeting, and we'll be talking about that on future episodes of the Book Cougars for sure.
And that's in person, and you are welcome to join us.
Yeah.
Should we show them our Friday reads one more time?
Yes, one more time. And we, of course, always want to know what you're reading. Let us know.
Please put it in the comments down below. Happy reading,
Happy
everybody.
reading.